The Norfolk Coast Path is a national trail which is 84 miles long. It starts in Hunstanton and finishes in Hopton on Sea and runs through some fantastic scenery and landscape. The majority of the trail runs through the Norfolk coast area of outstanding natural beauty. The coastline of Norfolk is enormously varied, with long stretches of golden beach interspersed with mudflats and salt marsh, shingle and pebbles. The Norfolk Coast Path is one of England's most gentle national trails. The terrain is varied, but it's generally flat, with only gentle gradients. Hello, and welcome to day one of the Norfolk Coast Path. I'm hoping to do this in about 6 days. It's Friday the 9th of August. I set the date in my diary some time ago and seem to have hit lucky because the weather forecast is fantastic. In fact, it might be a bit hot on Sunday and Monday, but it's rather good. So I took the train up here from the south coast yesterday. There was a relatively nearby festival, so the train was absolutely rammed with young people at the festival, but there's no problem. And stayed overnight in King's Lynn, the Wetherspoons there, which was very good. Had breakfast there this morning and then got the bus. Plentiful bus services to Hunstanton, where the official start of the walk is, although it might have been extended by now. I couldn't see an official start, but I started from the pier. I've been walking for about half an hour now, just coming down to the beach, which you can see just there. Lovely weather, quite windy, warm, and fairly blue skies. So looking forward to this walk. It's going to be relatively easy, I think, relatively flat, and I'm not doing huge distances. But I'll tell you more in a minute. One of the reasons I'm doing this walk is I've never been to the northeast coast before. Northeast coast of East Anglia, I suppose. So I've been to Hunstanton, but nowhere really east of that. So I'm keen to see what it's like. It should be fairly flat. I did the coast to coast at the end of April and May, which was fantastic, but very hilly. I had an operation about 5 weeks ago, so sort of regaining my fitness and hopefully off to Scotland at the beginning of September to walk from Inverness to Glasgow, which I think will be a bit more challenging distance wise. 84 miles for this walk, at 220 from Inverness to Glasgow. Not doing silly distances this week. 16.5 miles today, only 9 miles tomorrow, and I'm staying in pre-booked campsites. So Burnham Breck tonight. It's actually nice and easy. So I've been walking for just under an hour. Beautiful weather still. Nice easy walking. Just on my right hand side is the golf club. On my left hand side are the dunes. Can't quite see the coast, but I can hear the sea. Nice flat grassy tracks, sometimes a bit sandy, but very pleasant, and should hopefully allow me to get some easy and quick miles in, which will be nice on day one. See right over to Skegness, rather a fine view. Decent breeze as well, which is keeping the heat down, which is much appreciated. And there, back in the distance, is Hunstanton, where we started. Very pleasant walking. Blackberries on either side of me, not quite ripe yet, which is a shame, but lots of places to sit down. Very nice. Easy paths. Just turned away from the sea slightly to head down towards Thornham. Done about 6 miles, so nicely on track. Probably got about another 10 to do, 10 and a half to do. Just turned off the little road and following a beautiful path back down to Brancaster. 2.5 miles to Brancaster. About halfway now. Hello pigs. Just coming into Brancaster. Oh, it's been a lovely walk so far. Very quiet tracks. I've met one other person walking the coast path. And apart from that, not seen a soul, which has been lovely. Really nice scenery. Very pleasant walking. Not more that you could ask for. I'm going to follow the road to the right in Brancaster just to see if there's somewhere I can get a drink or something. Well, it's about 20 to 3 now. Stopped in Brancaster at the village stores for something to drink and a little snack for lunch, and then came back and got back on the path and been following this sort of I suppose it's a sea fortification to stop flooding for about a mile or so. Absolutely beautiful. There's a decent breeze, so it stops it being too hot, and you may just see in the distance there a lovely windmill. There it is, and somewhere up there is where we're going to camp, where I'm going to camp, and hopefully where I'll get a meal tonight. And over to the left, can't quite see the sea, but I can just about see the huge windmills in the distance. These are part of the Brancaster marshes. It's really beautiful. I pitched my tent that night in Burnham campsite, just next to the church, and was rewarded with a wonderful sunset. Well, good morning. Day 2 of the Norfolk Coast Path. Stayed the night in the little pop-up campsite in Burnham, which is run by the church, so laudable. Decent showers and toilets and things like that. And I walked down to Burnham Market, which is clearly very moneyed. Some lovely houses there and very smart cars. But the pubs there are pretty expensive. So I went to the Mermaid Chippy, and my view of that is avoid at all costs. It was not very nice. But there we are. I had something to eat, and it's only 10 minutes down the road, so easy walk. Didn't sleep particularly well. I never sleep particularly well when I'm camping, but it wasn't helped by some people who came back at about midnight. They're a little bit noisy, but nothing too drastic. I've only got 9 miles to do today. Just going to Wells next to sea. It should be a dead easy day. So I did have a bit of a lie-in, and it's about 9:30 now. just out of the campsite, there's a little footpath that takes you away from quite a dangerous little road that I had to walk up yesterday. And it's about 22 degrees today, cloudy, but really good walking weather. A little bit of a breeze. So I'm looking forward to today. Yesterday was absolutely fab. Really good walk. It's about 16.5 miles, the actual walk. But once I'd done all the faffing around, getting here and there and walking back down to Burnham Market and things, I reckon I did about 22 miles. So I was a bit tired, a little bit unfit at the moment. So. But it was good. I had a good day. And looking forward to today. So it's Saturday and seems to be a lot of people enjoying themselves in the water. There's also a little water ferry here. This is, I'm not quite sure where we are actually, but just going alongside the sea and the marshes. Pleasant, easy walking today. Quite a bustle with people around, but I'm sure in about 10 minutes time there'll be hardly anyone else around. Seen in front of us probably looked very similar 100 to 300 years ago. No signs of 21st century encroaching. And then straight ahead of us are the dunes. I'm going to walk up through them to Hopton Gap, where there's a visitor centre. I'm hoping to get a cup of coffee and something to eat. I just scrambled up the dunes. The path lies slightly inland. A fab view of this wonderful beach. Just stopped at the Hopton Gap Visitor Centre for a nice coffee and a wrap. Nice if overpriced. Visitor Centre was starting to get very crowded. It's a pleasant enough place. I'm now walking with lovely woodlands on my left and flatlands, I suppose, marshes possibly, on my right, and about 2 miles to Wells. And following this easy path south to Wells next to sea, which you can just see in the distance, probably about a mile away, and then about half a mile to the campsite. And it's still only 20 to 1. There's what looks like the campsite. Wonderful sunset tonight. Oh, good morning. Sunday the 11th of August, and it's an absolutely cracking day. I slept moderately well actually. Interesting that yesterday happened to be Wells Carnival, so the place was absolutely jam-packed. But that was okay. I had an early meal about 5 o'clock and went back and watched the film in the tent and went to bed quite early. Just left Wells, got up about 7 and pottered around a bit and left just after 8. Popped into the bakery that was very busy in Wales and got a little bit of breakfast and left Wells. Absolutely beautiful scenery, and it all looks even better under the sun. Doing just over 16 miles today to Weybourne. I'm wearing my Hoka Speedgoat 5 trainers for this walk, and it's the first time I've worn them for a long distance path. I've worn them for plenty of other walks with a day bag, but I don't think I'll be wearing them again. They pinch my little toes slightly, hence a couple of blisters there, but I sorted them out yesterday and touch wood, they'll be fine. Just walking along with brilliant views of marshes behind me. Absolutely wonderful. Lovely still day. Probably hear the birds. Brilliant scenery, look at that. It's lovely easy walking, and I could be the only person in the world. Lovely and quiet. Just coming up to the town of Blakeney. That's probably the way I've come. And where I'm heading. Fens. It's about 12:10. Just stopped at Blakeney, which was heaving, which is hardly surprising because it's a cracking day. Lovely little town or village. I went to Folks Coffee, which is highly recommended. Nice pastry and an absolutely cracking cup of coffee. And then a couple of yards down from that, the Spa, where I went and got a sandwich and some fruit and a drink. And now I'm walking the loop just north of Blakeney, so following the coast path. And then it joins the coast, and probably got about 4 miles to Weybourne, right along the coast. That's where I'm camping tonight. So I'll probably stop for a rest. Make a very good time. About 16 and a bit miles today. But I'm doing well. I've done about 10 miles. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Just leaving the coastline for a moment and heading south. And where that windmill is Clay next to the sea. We're going just round there, looping round, and then heading north. You might just be able to see the people on the path there, and right up to the sea, and then heading southeast. So just passed through Clay and come to this beautiful windmill, and in a moment we'll be starting to break north again up to the coast. So looking back towards Clay, joined the beach and walked along the shingle, which is fairly hard work. So I'm now going to go, tide's going out, so I'm going to walk on the hopefully firmer sand and heading towards the outcrop there. I think I've got about another 3-4 miles to Weybourne, where I'm camping tonight. So I've been following the shingle beach, which is pretty hard going, but very pleasant still. In the distance you can probably just about see, well, there's a gun emplacement beforehand, which is how people in Norfolk welcome guests, and then way beyond it is a huge wind farm. It's been a lovely day's walking. The weather has been fantastic, very warm but great breeze, and it's been really varied walking, which I didn't really expect actually. I mean, it's been nice and flat and relatively easy walking, but it's just been beautiful. Really enjoyed it today. Great, beautiful little path. Fox Hill on my right, Muckleburgh Hill I think, and it's going to be sort of wending my way through here until I join the main road, and then I think it's only about 200 metres, and hopefully that's where the campsite is. Made good time today. I was a bit worried about my feet yesterday, but they're holding up pretty well, and this is just delightful. Shady little bits, and then sun-dappled glades. Goodness me, what more could you ask? The Muckleburgh Military Collection, and welcome to Weybourne. And just past the yellow sign is a sign for Fox Hills Camping, where I'm staying tonight. Well, good morning. What a beautiful morning it is. Day 4 of the Norfolk Coast Path. I stayed at Fox Hills campsite last night. It was in the outskirts of Weybourne, which was beautiful. Really well kept. I was the only backpacker there. All the rest were motorhomes, but they were well away. And there was a nice little summer house where I could sit and charge my phone and phone bank and read. And it was very comfortable. The only downside was no showers, so it was a bit of a sticky night, but no showers tonight, which is good. It's about 5k to Sheringham, and then going right along the coast to Cromer. I assume it'll be slightly more commercialised, possibly even a real path. I have to say, this walk has surpassed my expectations. It's been brilliant. I thought it would just be lots of very flat scenery, and I suppose in some ways it is, but you know, on a day like today, just look at the view here. Hopefully you can just see the windmill in the background, beautiful waving grass, cow parsley, that's the name of it, and then on the other side, the North Sea. Just walking out of Weybridge. Wow, fantastic. And of course the weather has really helped. It's been cracking. Decent enough breeze, warm and sunny almost all the time. Literally about 3 drops of rain. Would I recommend? Absolutely. Relatively easy walking, nice and flat. Be a good one if it's your first long distance footpath. Good introduction. Loads of little villages where you can get a coffee or stock up, or possibly even B&B if you want to. Really good. That's looking back to Weybourne Beach. So looking down on Sheringham Golf Club, and actually a little bit of climbing. Look at that. Could be the Mediterranean. Just stopped in Sheringham for some breakfast and a little sit down. Having left Sheringham, I didn't bother to look at the map and was about half a mile out of Sheringham on the beach, Shingle Beach, and I thought, oh, this is going to be hard work. Checked the OS map and realised I should have been up the top, so I had to backtrack a little bit, and I'm just above the beach now, which is very pleasant walking, a few ups and downs, but a bit more of a breeze. The sun's gone behind some clouds, but it is roasting, really hot, covered with sun cream, and looking forward to getting a shower in a campsite tonight. Just going up Beeston Bump, which is that bumpy bit there. And this is the view from Beeston Bump. Trig point here. Must be one of the few trig points in North Norfolk because it's so flat. A lovely field of poppies. Let's climb up here and walking into the town centre. Got to say, this hasn't been the best bit of the walk. Path takes you a little bit along the main road and then lots of little cuts through to holiday villages and static caravan parks and things like that. Cromer is supposed to be the gem of Norfolk. Not sure I quite agree with that, but we'll see. Just left Cromer and I thought I was going to go along the top, but the signs indicate to come down on the beach. I was wondering about climbing up, but it's about a mile to Overstrand. There is a path up just there that I think I might stick on the beach, as it's the route. It's not bad walking. There's a beautiful breeze. It's still baking hot today, but beautiful breeze. Just past Overstrand and Side Strand and climb back up. Brilliant views. And I suppose I'm about 4 or 5 miles away from Mundesley and the campsite there. And looks like I'll be walking across the top of the cliffs, top of the hills to get there. And it's about 20 to 2, so I've got plenty of time. Look at this. Isn't that gorgeous? It's quite nice to be out of Cromer, although that was pleasant enough to see, but it's much quieter here, which is rather good. Beautiful path with clover and all sorts, just gorgeous and fantastic views. The only downside is there are quite a few stingers, but there we are. This is lovely, very quiet, hardly anyone around. Haven't seen anyone since I left Side Strand actually. today. Coming up to Mile Point, just over 3 miles to go to the campsite. When I get to Mundesley, I've got to head south inland and probably about a mile to the campsite. But it sounds a nice campsite, Hideaway Holidays or something. But it sounds very pleasant with big pitches and showers, hooray! It's been a lovely walk again today.
Mundesley was a charming little town with a good pub. The campsite was well equipped with large pitches and good facilities. Again, I enjoyed a spectacular sunset.
Good morning. It's Tuesday the 13th of August, day 6 of the Norfolk Coast Path and penultimate day. I stayed in a campsite called Hideaway Holidays in Mundesley, about a mile down from the coast. Very pleasant, nice big pitch, decent showers. Walked up to the ship for a relatively decent meal and lovely pint of Weybourne. It's one of the local ales and it's delicious. And slept okay. All in all, I did about 19 miles yesterday, so I was a bit tired. Another big day today, best part 20 miles today, down to, well, about 8 miles north of Great Yarmouth, and then tomorrow walking down to Great Yarmouth, and then the 4 miles beyond to the end of the coast path, catching the bus back to Great Yarmouth and then the train home. Weather continues to be really good. It's about 7:20 this morning, so I managed to get up early. A few spots of rain last night. So it rained for about 10 minutes, even though the good old BBC weather app said there was a 0% chance of rain. But there we are. It's going to be warm today, but yesterday was getting up to 34 degrees. So today it's not going to be as warm as that. And cloudy sky, I think. So thought I'd set off early and looking forward to a good walk. So the trail takes you down onto the beach after Mundesley, heading towards Happisburgh. This part of the beach is totally deserted. There were some swimmers and surfers up early near Mundesley, but this is fine. Sounds quite firm. Tide's right out. I don't know whether it's coming back in again, but it's relatively easy walking. Walked a couple of miles along the beach, and now just on the seawall just above the beach, which is slightly easier walking and gives a different perspective on the sea. About 8:45, done about 4 miles so far, so not bad going. I think these are the sort of paths that I like walking on best, particularly in this walk. Nice, easy on the feet, green paths, farmland or flowers, and you can just see Happisburgh Church in the distance, and I'm very much hoping that I can get something to eat at Happisburgh, some breakfast. That would be nice. Happisburgh Lighthouse, and then walking along the top of the cliff, and I'm hoping there'll be somewhere to eat in Sea Pulling, which is about another 4 miles, but I'm going to stop whatever in about 15 minutes and have a rest. It's just turned 11 o'clock. According to my OS map, I'm 200 metres off the shore, but clearly it's low tide. There's been quite a lot of beach walking today, so I missed out some of it by following a little track. It wasn't particularly scenic, but it's perfectly all right. about a quarter of a mile away from the sea, and now walking along the beach. Again, beautiful beach, hardly anyone around, and considering it's right at the peak holiday season, it's fantastic. Just stopped in Sea Palling for sausage roll and a coffee. The last bit from Eccles-on-Sea to Sea Palling, all on the beach, very pleasant, bit of a slog, but now leaving Sea Palling, we're walking behind the sea dunes. Lovely quiet footpath. Just met one person, the first person I met on the footpath, who's just cycled the Peddars Way, and I did think of walking the Peddars Way first and then doing the Norfolk Coast Path, but I didn't quite have time. But it is one of those paths that I'd like to do sometime. I think it's only about 40 miles, so eminently doable, and of course very flat. Just past the signpost, it seems to be pointing the wrong way to Norfolk Coast Path. Didn't match what I've got on my OS maps at all. It was not opposite direction. So I went down towards the beach and took a chance on this path here, which, although slightly grassy, is lovely. And I think it joins up with what seems to be the actual path in a minute. There's a little turn to the right, but this is the lower of two footpaths. But again, very nice walking. I get the impression that this path is not used a huge amount. The last mile or so has been really overgrown. Quite a lot of brambles, lots of seagrass, but some nice juicy blackberries. Next 5¼ miles are really good places for wildfowl breeding, so keeping a lookout for anything there. And I'm staying tonight in a rather large camping and caravanning park in Hemsby, about 6 miles away, and it's just turned 1 o'clock, so making good time. I think I'm going to walk for another mile or so and then take a break. Just walking down the beach here towards Hemsby, and although it's crowded near the car park, very few people around, and seals, fantastic. Just going to go see if I can get a bit close to them and then sit down. And I just saw another one a moment ago. And there's another one just to his right. Whee! Oh, and another one there. 3 of them. Wow. Excellent. Look at that. Three more seals there. Loads of them. Oh, fantastic. Look at that. Brilliant. Well, I was overjoyed at seeing 3 or 4 seals, but look at them all. That's incredible. Absolutely fabulous. It's clearly party time for seals around here. Just walking on a lovely path, about half a mile from the sea. Slightly different from the coast path, but I thought it would make a difference. About 3 miles to Hemsby now. Just made a bit of a detour and joined the Hemsby Road and walking down to Long Beach Caravan Park. This looks quite a big place, not normally my sort of place, but it should be dead easy, and they've got somewhere serving food, so I won't have to walk far. Must admit, feeling quite tired. Done just over 20 miles. It's been pretty hot, but it's been lovely, and looking forward to setting the tent up and getting a drink. Morning. It's Wednesday the 14th of August and my last day today. Got out about 7:30. Huge, great campsite and caravan park. Normally I'd stay well away, but to be honest it was dead easy. Not very nice pitch, but at least I had a bar and I could just go and sit there and stare into space for a couple of hours and have a few drinks and something to eat. That was nice. Got about 13 miles to do today. About 8.5 to Great Yarmouth, I think, and 4.5 to what looks like the end, or if it's like the beginning, it probably won't have a discrete end. We'll see. So just walking down to Hemsby now. It's grey and overcast today. Yesterday when I looked at the forecast, BBC weather forecast, it said it will be sunny all day, and today it's saying some showers, so obviously changed. I'm feeling a little bit battered today. I almost never get blisters. I had one blister in the Hebrides when my feet got very wet, but coast to coast, no blisters. Isle of Wight, no blisters. West Highland Way, no blisters. South Downs Way, no blisters. I've got loads of them on my heel, both feet, little toe, and both feet. I think it's because of my trail runners, which I have to admit are nice and comfortable and springy and light. But I think I'll go back to boots. At least I don't get blisters that way. So just here, just outside of Hemsby, the path has crumbled away and fallen onto the beach by the looks of it. So I did just go and check, but there's no sign of where to detour, but it's fairly obvious to detour onto the beach. Luckily, I think the tide's going out, so it sounds quite firm. And just there is a large wind farm. A little bit breezy today. The sun's trying to peek its way through with some success. Just passing Caister-on-Sea. Route's a bit indistinct, and could have been walking through a lot of seagrass and brambles and things like that, so decided to come back down on the beach. Still grey and overcast, but actually really good walking weather. It's about 5 to 9 and about 4 k's from Great Yarmouth. It's been a long old slog into Great Yarmouth, but eventually here. Feeling quite tired today after yesterday, but it's only to be expected. I'm looking for somewhere where I can have breakfast. Just by the pier now. Well, last 4 miles or so through Great Yarmouth haven't been great. Walking along a busy road through sort of industrial areas and stuff like that. My advice to you if you're doing this is, as soon as you start getting into the outskirts of Great Yarmouth, by one of the holiday parks, there's a bus stop, hop on a coastliner bus until you get to probably around about here, the estuary, and then hopefully it's getting a bit more pleasant, and then I think some more dune walking, and then to Hopton on Sea. About 4 miles to go today, and then that's it. Looking back towards Great Yarmouth, nice walk on the beachfront, and then about a mile along the beach. Got half a mile to go. It's turned into another nice day, and somewhere down there is the end, and it's 12:15, so another 15 minutes walking and I'll be there. Must admit, feeling a bit tired and footsore.
The end of the Norfolk Coast Path is unassuming and marked with a simple signpost. It marked the end of an excellent and very varied walk, and from here it was only 10 minutes to the bus stop.
Well, I got to the end and took a few photos, and I was so excited about getting to the end I forgot to take any video. But there we are. So I'm just walking up the little road to the beach, or little road from the beach to Hopton on Sea, and there's a bus that comes in about half an hour, which I'm going to catch back to Great Yarmouth. So, final thoughts on the Norfolk Coast Path. 99% absolutely wonderful. I just skipped a bit in Great Yarmouth, but that's only about 4 miles. The rest of the 84 miles, so the other 80, really good. Fair bit of beach walking, fair bit of walking on dunes, where, because you're trying to pick the path out, you tend to do a bit further than you calculate. So I did a couple of 20+ mile days, but maybe my opinion is coloured by the weather, which has been fab. Had a tiny bit of rain last night, but that's the only rain we've had. It's just been a wonderful walk, really very enjoyable, with loads of decent scenery. It's been relatively flat and quite easy, apart from the sand walking. Loads to see, nice little villages, pretty decent campsites, and I'd recommend doing it. I'd actually quite like to come back and do it in the winter and see what it looks like. Quite a lot more bleak, I should think, but a really good walk, right up there with my top 3 walks, I think. So very pleased I did it. Right, bus back to Great Yarmouth, train to Norwich, train to Liverpool Street, tube to Waterloo, train to Southampton, and then train to Swanwick. So if all goes well, I'll be back by 10 to 10 tonight, and looking forward to having a sit down on the train. Over and out. See you on the next one.